I'm your host, Donna Cates, and each week we'll dive into powerful stories, expert strategies, and practical tools to help you take charge of your financial future. Whether you're planning for retirement, navigating a divorce, or simply looking to build your wealth with confidence, this is your space to grow, learn, and thrive. Let's get started with today's podcast. Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to introduce you today to Dawn Lucarelli. Now, Dawn was an associate superintendent, but is now running her own coaching and consulting business. So, thanks so much for joining us today. And I'm eager to delve deep into your career journey. So, if you could just give us a couple of minute overview of what it is that you do and why you got into it, I'd love that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it. So what I'm currently doing is I opened a coaching and consulting business. I've always wanted to coach and consult, and I found myself throughout my career getting passion from particularly coaching and consulting with women. And so that really is my passion. And so my business that I have currently between coaching and consulting has expanded to multiple things because I realized in my role the knowledge I have built over time. So I do coaching and consulting for businesses as well as educational services. And I'm also able to write applications. I work on the side for a company called Poker Power, which empowers women to play poker. And so that is I'm an adjunct coach for them, instructional coach for them, as well as helping a team negotiate. That's kind of what I'm doing. And it is all based on my certified Gallup coaching strengths. And the reason why I do it, I think I went into a bit of that, is I found myself in the last 34 years of my career helping people get where they want to go. That really was important to me, male or female. If you wanted to get somewhere, I always would invite you into my office. Come into my office, tell me what you want. Let's strategically work this out and we'll get you where you want to go. And so I mentored a lot of people over the years, and that was my passion for many years. I retired in July as Associate Superintendent of Schools for Anne Arundel County, Maryland, where I was in charge of over 120 schools, supervised athletics. And after 34 years, I loved everything I did with the school system. I was very blessed. I also realized that I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit ever since I was a child, and realized that my financial journey, I took the safe route if I was really honest with myself. And after a while, I always wanted to coach and consult. And after 34 years, and having grown children and 10-year-old identical twins, and knowing I totally couldn't retire and I have a lot of energy, I decided to take the risk after being part of a female cohort for leaders for superintendents, unapologetically take the risk and go out and start a business. And so that's what I did. And it was quite a risk, leaving that world behind, but I don't regret it even for a second. I have a lot of satisfaction in what I do right now.
So awesome. And I have to tell you, there's a couple of things that really resonate with me. First of all, I can tell your passion. I mean, it just obviously shines through, but to know that you are fulfilled by giving and helping others, that's really a strong statement. And to know, I mean, that's your passion. That's what you do. You're that natural mentor. You don't have to be asked to do it. It sounds like you're just like, ooh, I see a need. Let me help. And if they're open to that help, then that's all wonderful, I'm sure. And then I did read about the poker thing, and I thought, I'm kind of curious about that. So I'm glad that you mentioned it. So poker power breakout teacher. I'm going to get you to elaborate on that just a little bit.
So first of all, I've been playing poker for over 18 years. I grew up playing poker, and poker has taught me a lot of life lessons. And so, critical decision making under pressure, and negotiation skills, and taking your place as a female at the table. And there's a lot of things. So, when I when the company and I kind of met each other, their mission resonated with me personally, having played so long and being one of the only females, quite frankly, in a room full of men when I started 18 years ago, or the only woman left at the final table. And so when I met this incredible company and high powered executives that we work with to teach them those skills, I knew it was one of the things I wanted to do. And so, the mission is to teach 1 million women how to negotiate and assess risk and make confidence decisions confidently, everywhere, right? To sit down and to play life differently is the motto. And so I credit all of that to them. And so that's
Okay.
just one of the things I do on the side, but it is one of my favorite things I'm doing as
I
well
know
as
it sounds
coaching,
so
because you're
fun.
still
It
teaching and
definitely.
coaching women.
Right, using all the skill sets that you that
Absolutely.
you you have,
Mhm.
but doing it in a fun way. That's just awesome. And I'll tell you the other thing that resonates with me. I've been working as a financial advisor, working primarily with women, helping them build their wealth and protect their wealth, even through life transitions. But I left the corporate world literally 2.5 years ago. So much like you, we kind of worked under that structure and then we went out on our own.
Mhm.
So that is a risk and it does take a lot. But I'm happy where I am and it looks like you are
Good.
too. So awesome,
It's
awesome.
awesome.
So let me, I'm going to get you to share this with me. I'd love to see in your coaching business, what do you see as the biggest problem in your industry now, and what are you doing to solve for that?
So when I look at the coaching, so I have been blessed to have gotten some contracts very early on. I retired in July, and I had worked with a group of women, like pro organizers, and so it was interesting. It had nothing to do with education. I coached their CEO and business, the person who owned the business, as well as their leads in the industry. And then I held a workshop for, because really my niche is building managers and teams and how you work together to reach your goals when we work from a place of strength. So that comes from my certified Gallup background. I think when we tell people what their natural talents are, how you act, behave, and think, and you build people up that way, you get the most from them. So we
Mhm.
can be different and get to our goal, but we need each other sometimes to achieve the goal, particularly on teams. And so she brought me in to work with the team and did a workshop. And I think what I realized, that after being in this industry just for a short amount of time, and I'm building that part of the business, coaching and the coaching piece, coaching teams and leaders, is there are now tools out there. I met with someone who I was coaching, and the gentleman had already put everything, like all the strengths, into AI and everything, like the resume. And I thought it was all like, wow, what a tool. What I will say, that's the challenge, I think, in the industry. And I think it's a misconception to some degree, because a true coach has to individualize as they're in the moment. Nothing will ever replace, and this is what I say about education too, nothing will ever replace a human being and you telling me your story. As a coach, I listen. I look at your strength profile. I see where your talents are. And it's a back and forth and a question and a listening, a diagnosis. How do we get you there? How are we going to aim it? How are you going to reach your goal? And you just can't do that with AI. And so I think AI has been a challenge to many industries, but I think will continue to be a challenge within any coaching and consulting businesses.
And I couldn't agree with you more because I think AI is probably going to be a huge time saver for most of us
Mhm.
because it can do a lot of research and that
Sure.
type of thing for us, but it can't replace the human touch and knowledge and compassion and empathy and all of those things that we bring to the table as a human being,
Yes.
right? Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Yeah, you're
Relationships
everything.
matter. They just do. And when people try, that's part of the coaching, my coaching strength is developing a
Right.
relationship with people that they can call me really whenever, and I'm going to pick up if they need me.
Right,
It's
right, right.
it's a calling. It's not a. It's more than a business to me.
Right. And that makes all the difference in the world. So you can typically tell when somebody's just showing up to do the work versus when they're really passionate and engaged in it. So yeah, that's awesome. So where do you see yourself going, as I guess specifically in your work and the industry in the next 5 to 10 years? I know we have the challenge of AI, but beyond that.
So right now, personally, because I am so new in expanding my business, I'm really looking to expand my reach in being a certified Gallup strength and working with not only education but businesses. I've really enjoyed that and found that it's all about individualization and understanding the person, and I can learn the industry to help them along the way. So for me, in the next 5, 10 years, I'm looking to expand my business through generation leads. I'm looking into what that means. What does that look at in front of roundtables, building business that way, being on LinkedIn, making connections, and seeing where I can help people. So really my goal is really to expand that piece of the business because it really does. I'm very passionate about coaching people,
That
both
sounds awesome.
individuals and teams for
Hmm.
results.
Well, and I will tell you, I think that the generational coaching is going to be really significant because, and I have no clue what your age is, except that you're old enough to have worked in the education industry for 34 years, right? But the thing that I would say is that, so many of us are the baby boomers are getting ready to make that big transition. And we're going to leave a big void there. So coaching those younger people into that, that
So it's
stepping up.
interesting you say that because when you talk about where to go, I recently talked with someone who is she's much younger. She's amazing, entrepreneur. And she talked to me, she said, "Oh, you like, and I've done this. I just didn't do it like as part of the business. I have done Gallup strengths coaching for friends' children, for my own grown adults. I was thinking, wow, that to me uh, is very valuable for young. You talk about generational knowing what they want to do and their talents and how they match. Because the bottom line is if you're not working within your talents, your strengths, engagement, productivity, your happiness goes down. You're
Right.
much happier when you're working with what your natural talents are.
Right. Awesome. Oh, and what a gift to give to the parents as well, to especially, when they're going through high school
Get
and
ready to
into
go to
college,
college and they're trying to make career
right?
choices and you look at their strengths, you're like, oh, I mean, I'd be like, you might struggle a little bit with, there's a way to say it. And I'll just give you a quick example. My son, I did
Yeah.
not get my son's permission to share this story, so I won't, but my son was in a job. I won't even name companies. He was in a
Okay.
very heavy people industry, restaurant industry. And when COVID hit, that slowed down and he had to find a different industry. He ended up working in a very secluded atmosphere. He
Mm.
has woo, win others over, and strategic, and some other things in communication. He likes to talk in his top five. I saw my son crumble and become depressed in front of my eyes. And the minute I said, Michael, oh, you need to remember your strengths. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
And they'll figure it out if you figure it out. But he would say the same thing. He realized he was miserable. And so I always tell people, you can manage your weaknesses, but you can't fix them. It's who you are. And so I'm happy to say he's being very successful in a people led industry and much happier. And so that's
That
my
is so
story.
fascinating. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. And there was nothing quite like COVID shutting down all the peopling that, yeah, we all kind of suffered with
Sure.
that. So I'm glad that he had that learning early, right? So tell me, what is the biggest challenge that you faced to this point in your life, whether that's personally or professionally, and how has that shaped the way you're doing business today?
That's a great question. The greatest challenge, I think I've seen challenges throughout my career. I think one of the challenges I became a principal fairly early in my career. I was young. I was the youngest principal at the time. And the challenge was knowing I could do the job, but always facing this kind of imposter syndrome that women go through in saying, having that credibility and years of service. And in certain types of industries like education and government, they really look at time and service as being knowledge. And so that has always had been a challenge until I was the one who would walk into class and like, oh my gosh, I taught you that kind of thing. Uh, things change. But I always made sure that I looked out for people that were younger and achieved goals quickly so that they felt comfortable and were included in the conversation and valued for what they knew. And that's always been a challenge. It no longer is to that degree. Uh, so that's always been a challenge. I think the other challenge for me in deciding what to do next always did revolve around financial matters. And so many of my decisions at times were made to make sure that my family was taken care of and what I needed to do rather than where my passions lie sometimes. And
Mhm.
so that was personally a challenge for me to say, look, unapologetic, this is what I'm going to do. I know I don't think everyone thought it was a great idea for me to retire and open a business because they saw it as risky. And in the words of, I'll just put it out there, let them. I have embraced that theory and let them think what they want. And I'm very fulfilled and satisfied with what I'm doing now.
That is so awesome. And I can't wait to hear from you in 5 years after you've really built the business. And like now you can go back and say, not just let them, but yeah,
Yeah.
we won't go there. But yeah, that's all good. That's all positive. So I'm thrilled to hear that. Okay, let's shift gears just a touch. If you could have lunch with any person, living or deceased, who would that be and why?
Oh, this is hard. I hear this question, and I actually, I don't know, a couple months ago, my mom, I said, I don't really know. Like, that's really tough for me. There's so many people that I would want to have, like, live, like, and so I'm going to go with my poker, hero. I'll call her a hero, but that's Annie Duke. So she is, and the reason why I say that, she broke so many barriers for women in poker. And very early on, she was in Texas card rooms, the only man. You could imagine the comments that were thrown at her and the things she put up with. Her mind is brilliant. She's a brilliant mathematician. She can rattle the odds off to you. And I've read every single one of her books. And I truly credit her. And while I've done lots of boot camps and other kind of training, I really credit her for really having an impact on what I will call has been a success when I play poker. Because she talks about making good decision making. And that's what poker is about. Making good decision making, not necessarily the outcome.
Got it. It's that with one decision at a
So
time.
right. And if you make good decisions,
Mhm.
then you have a better outcome. Some people think because they had a good outcome, they made a good decision, and that's not always the case. And so I would
Okay.
love to have now it's so funny because I was in a boot camp with her where she taught something, but I didn't really like it would have been great to have lunch or dinner with her. So
That sounds so awesome.
that's what
And
I'm
you're not the first that have said, "Oh my gosh, there's hundreds of people,"
yeah.
and for me, it always depends on what's happening in my life at the
Right.
moment too,
Or what
right?
information I need.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, and I'm typing this out. Better decisions equals better results
Yes.
or outcomes.
Outcomes.
Okay, I like that. Okay. All right, perfect. All right, now in this private industry that you're in now, what's the best way for people to reach out to learn more about what you're doing, how they might work with you and support you?
Okay. So the easiest way is just to go on my website. It's Dawn, Dawn, at dawnlucarelli.com. and I have a form that they can fill out, and it's me. I'm the only one. So I contact you directly and you talk to me personally. Tell me what you need, and I could probably do it. Right now, I'm doing multiple things.
That's awesome. And I think that having those multiple tasks and the different things to be working in is keeping you really empowered too.
Yes.
Am I right?
And busy.
And busy. That's a good thing. That's not a
Busy's a
bad thing.
great thing.
Awesome. Absolutely. Well, and we'll be sharing the podcast, so you're welcome to put it out there. Hopefully, a lot of people will see it and know where to find you. So, thank you so much for being a guest today.
Thank you, Donna. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I hope today's conversation left you feeling inspired, informed, and ready to take the next step in your financial journey. Remember, building wealth isn't just about money, it's also about creating a life that aligns with your goals and values. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with the women in your life who deserve financial empowerment too. Until next time, stay confident, stay empowered, and keep building the life you desire.